Good morning, everyone, and happy October 18th. With October 15th behind us, we could start preparing for the 2019 filing season. Well, doesn't that sound exciting? We just get the 15th behind us, and we're already starting to think about the 2019 filing season. But that seems to be our way our tax seasons are going now. Those 4 months out of the year are now out the door, and we're now pretty much a 12-month service. So, I feel for everyone right now. But hopefully we're going to bring you a great show today, and I know we will, because this morning I'm joined by Don Moran. Don has a practice in Calverton, Maryland, and has been a longtime member of MSATP. Don has a passion for people to be successful in all walks of life. And for this reason, I have asked Don to join us on the panel for the Employee to Entrepreneur program on October 30th in Columbia. And that will be from 5:30 p.m. till 8 o'clock p.m. And I believe we already have about 12 people registered. So I'm really excited about this program. And if you recall, we held this program back in, I believe it was August, and we sold it out in 2 days. So it's very, very popular program. Well, without further ado, good morning, Don.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Well, Don, I know you are ready to get into it and talk to us about some things to help entrepreneurs. So, just share some things that you would, your thoughts on this.
Well, I think being in business is very important. It's in my mind, it's the path to economic freedom. But one of the things that young people who are going into business, whether they're entrepreneurs, startup, seasoned businesses, or even mature businesses like mine, I've been in business 34 years. We don't understand that business is continually learning how to do business. And that's really important for us to know, that regardless of how much we think we know when we go into business, we could have to continually keep learning so that we can progress in business.
We were just talking about that this morning, Don, with this whole setup with the virtual, how we're doing this interview, how things have changed. Who would have thought that this would be possible, 2 years ago? I mean, and look at us now. So you're right. You learn something new every day, and it's the truth. Now, I know you've been in the field for many years, and I cannot believe you just said 38 years. Are you telling me that's how long we've known each other, 38 years?
You were a baby when I met you.
Oh, thank you, Don. Thank you. Now, what is the common issue that you see when people are starting new business? What is the one thing that you see? I know there's probably multiple things, but one of the common things that you see that they do wrong when they're starting a new business?
It's planning. It's implementing. It's monitoring and modifying those plans over a period of time. As business owners, we don't find the time to plan, and planning is what makes us either great or just gives us a job for the next 30 years.
Right.
Planning is so important. Before you go into business, people have various opinions about whether a business plan is necessary and pertinent. In my mind, it's probably the most important document that a business owner can do. It should be done before you go into business. Mm-hmm. And when you're in business, you should use that plan for monitoring to figure out where you are. Have you achieved those milestones in your plan? Do you need to modify it because things have changed? And it's really important that you use that document for yourself. You should develop a resource team initially so that they can look at that document and advise you and critique you. And then over a period of time, as you grow and leverage yourself in the business, you need to form a management team that also uses that document. And don't be afraid to modify the business plan. Modify your plans. There's no substitute for planning, both operational, financial, and long-term planning and strategizing in the business, no matter what size, no matter what age.
Now, how often would you say, that you should modify or at least look at the plan? I know you're probably saying that you should look at the plan at least annually, I would think. But what would be, what would be the normal about how to modify? Would it be like every 5 years? I mean, with the technology now, you would have to do it maybe even more often than that.
Well, it's as needed. I believe that you should be looking at your business plan at least quarterly, no less than annually, but at least quarterly. Because
Interesting.
look at the economy. Every single business is affected by the global economy in some measure. Now, we don't really feel that because we're so busy working every day. But when the recession happens, or the slowdown, or sequester, or close down, we feel it then, but we're not prepared for it because we don't think about it. And so we have to be able to look at our plans, at least on a quarterly basis, evaluate how far along we are in those plans, and whether they should be changed. And we shouldn't be afraid to change. Having to change doesn't mean that we did a poor job planning or that we're failing. It means that things are changing and we're aware of those changes, and we're aware of how they're impacting our business so that our business can modify. I'll give you an example. When I started my business in 1987, I was concentrating on tax resolution. I mean, that went by the wayside in 1991 when the first recession came up. I mean, things change, and you have to be able to plan, be flexible, implement, modify, and be able to evaluate those plans.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so you've been in practice for 38 years. So it seems the model's working for you. So you're still in practice and you're expanding. And I know that you are very active on YouTube and that you help a lot of small business owners with your Success Zone company. So can you talk a little bit about that? And I'll just tell you, that's what drew me to reach out to you to be a part of this panel because of what you're doing with Success Zone. So can you share a little? I don't want you to give away the farm here, but please share with us.
I don't mind sharing. Believe me, there are a lot of people who helped me along the way. And so our responsibility is to share and give back what we learned. So that's not a problem. So just let me say, where we are now is not where we started. And where we are now is because things had to be adapted in order for us to maintain and become a going concern. And so when I started, I did all those business plans things. I went to SCORE. I thought I knew what I was doing in business. And after the first 3 years, we had 10 employees. We had a few hundred clients, but all the clients were paying us a little bit of money. And so because we had a lot of clients, it looked like a lot of money, but it wasn't. And it was going to a principals conference for the Maryland Society of Accountants and tax professionals that let me know that we have to price ourselves so that we're in the right target audience. And if that target audience can't stand the prices, then we have to change that audience.
Right.
And I came back from that conference loaded with information that allowed me to decide that my business was not going to be a successful business with a lot of clients paying me a little bit of money. I wanted a few clients paying me a whole lot of money. And so it took maybe 2 years to make that conversion because you have to get into the target audience that you wanted. But again, without being exposed to that information in the principals conference, I probably never would have come across it. And so that's really important. And so one of the things that we do in the Success Zone is we try to make sure that the businesses that we work with understand one thing: cash is king. If you don't have any cash flow, positive cash flow, everything else is just practice. I'm sorry. If you're not making money and it's not in the bank, I don't care what your financial statements say, you are not a going concern. So cash is king. And we ask our clients and associates not to spend all the money that goes into your business bank account. Put away 10%, 5%, put away something into a reserve account. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have to raid that reserve account when cash is slow, but you have it and you get the habit of putting money away. And so managing the cash flow in any company is the most important thing you can do. We say cash is king, but we also say planning is its queen, because you can't manage your cash unless you plan for it. And, and those are things that people don't like to talk about: budgeting, forecasting, words that we don't want to hear. But those are methodologies that we need to be aware of so that we can make sure that we're around 38 years later and successful at it, and able to have an exit strategy that allows someone to want to buy, take over, merge, or do whatever you want for your exit strategy for your business. So cash planning is its queen. And yeah, we try and share that message with everyone that we touch. But we have a series of courses that are called CEO sessions, which teach things that we've learned along the way. We also have a cable show that we call the Wealth Zone University, which began really as a personal financial education vehicle, but it morphed into a business advocate vehicle because there are a lot of people out there talking about personal finance.
Right.
Not a lot talking about the benefits of going into business for yourself and how to do it. And
So
also
you,
we
oh,
do presentations for the Small Business Administration. So we try and stay active.
so you say you have a cable. So what cable channel is it on?
It's on Fairfax Public Access Cable.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and they have a relationship with Montgomery County Cable and all the cable channels around the nation. But once they show it on Fairfax Access, they put it on YouTube. And so all of those shows are on YouTube, along with a sample of the SBA presentations. And so basically our job is both professionally and educationally to take what we've learned and what we continue to learn,
Right.
share it with our clients and our associates so that we can be in a position of giving back.
Yeah. Now, thankfully, I mean, as you brought up at the solo conference, thankfully, for those who are watching, they still have an opportunity to go this year because it's going to be November 8th through the 10th in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And we still have about maybe 11 spots left. And so, as you said, that's where your beginning was. And that's how you realized. And I guess, I guess you decided you needed to change that course that you were on, and it was from there. So that, if you would like to go and see what it's all about, we still have space available. So
I recommend that everyone realize that there are things that we just don't know, and we don't know that we don't know them until someone brings the subject up. And so the Principals Conference is vital in my mind to anyone who's running a business and wants that business to grow. Because as solopreneurs, if we don't leverage ourselves through employees and contractors and other things, we're not going to be a business. We're just going to be small for the rest of our lives, working really hard. And that's not the point of opening a business. And so the Principals Conference talks about those things. But in addition to that, Sandy, if you don't mind my just plugging.
Yeah, go right ahead.
The other thing that helped me was being on the boards and committees of the Maryland Society, interacting, learning, and the first time I played golf was on the fundraising committee. I never would have played golf unless I was on that committee and had to go to the charity function. Now I always won the last place award, but still. So
but
I
we
encourage
had fun.
everyone to participate with the society.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And Don, I really appreciate all the things you've talked about this morning. And I'm telling you, I really look forward to having you on the panel on October 30th. I really appreciate all you do with the society. And you just have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone.
Okay. Well, that was just amazing. Don is just a great person. I really appreciate him being on with us this morning. But before we sign off today, I just want to address a couple additional items. First off, many of you have signed up for seminars, and we've been getting many phone calls here at the office about people saying they're not getting their confirmations. Well, we did some checking, and it looks like, and when we had some of the members on the we found that the confirmations are either going in their spam, their junk, or their clutter folders. So if we are sending the confirmations out, please check those folders. And if you do find that it's in that folder, please mark it as a friend and make sure it goes into your inbox. And from that point forward, you should start getting them in your inbox. So just be aware of that. So again, it's just very important because that there's a lot of information in that confirmation that you need to know about the seminar. One of the things that's in there is the actual location of the event, but there's two things there. There's the location of the event, and there's also the location if there's sleeping rooms involved, and it might be a different location. So this past week, we had an event here in Columbia where the event was down the road and we were staying at the DoubleTree. Well, a few of our members saw the DoubleTree and ended up going there by accident. You just got to make sure that you're reading the confirmation carefully and make sure that you're noticing that, that was the sleeping room. So, I mean, thankfully, it was just down the street. And most of the hotels we do get either adjacent to or very close to the location. And they were able to get there timely. But just be aware that we're just trying to save time for everyone. So next thing I want to talk about is a couple things on the IRS level. Now, earlier, you remember that a couple years ago, we had to pay for our PTIN. And then there was a lawsuit put in where they said that was not legal. And so they put a hold on it. And so it went to court. And the authority said, and the lower authority said that, yes, the IRS could charge a fee because it provides personnel and resources. So those plaintiffs really took a next level and took it up to the Supreme Court and said, asked them to review it. This week, the Supreme Court has declined to hear the case and therefore letting the ruling at the lower court stand. Now, what does that mean? Because right now we're in the beginning of, as of October 15th, that you have to renew your PTIN. Where right now we have received notification that right now there is still no charge to apply for your 2020 PTIN. So that's still in case, no charge for the PTIN. But also remember though, that you need to be aware that that additional question is on that renewal. This serves as a reminder that you're legally responsible to have the data security plan in place. And so make sure that you do have a security plan in place. It must be a written plan. It must be in your file. And you must answer that question when you renew your PTIN. So just be aware of that because you do not want to do something and not have something in place before you renew. So it's very important that you have that in place. In addition, this week, the IRS issued a draft of the 2019 Form 1065, the Form 1120S, the Schedule K1 for the 1120S, as well as the new 2019 Form 1040 Schedule 1. So actually, this is the second draft of that Schedule 1. So if you want to take a look at that, they're also available. And also, if you recall, we have a brand new form this year. It's the new Form 1040 SR. And this is the U.S. tax return for seniors. So thankfully, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm knocking on that door. So make sure that you take a look at that because this is for individuals who are 65 and there is no income limitations or restrictions. So, but you might want to take a look at that form because it's a brand new form this year. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. Now, I know we jumped around a little bit. We were on the Friday show, and that was because of the October 15th due date. But next week, we are going to be in Ocean City for the BE. So I'm going to be coming live on Wednesday morning. On Wednesday, we were going to be talking about podcasts. And I have a guest. My guest next week will be Matt Lincoln from Middletown, Maryland. And we will be coming from Ocean. And that's going to be on Wednesday at 9. The reason being is because on Thursday morning, I have my annual meeting with the IRS concerning the practitioner issues. So the following week, I'll have some great updates from the IRS that I can share with you from that meeting. But that's Thursday morning, so that's why we had to move our show until Wednesday of next week. So that'll be Wednesday next week at 9 o'clock. So tune in, learn about podcasts, and learn how the information that you can hear from the podcast while you're driving down the road or exercising, how it can help you in your practice. So until next week, have a great weekend. Enjoy this beautiful fall weather. I'm a fall person, so I love the colors, and I hope to get my pumpkins this weekend. So enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you next Wednesday.